Shalom. This week we are reading Parashat Pinchas. Parashat Pinchas opens up with an incident that really is the continuation of a saga that is recorded in the end of last week's Parsha, Parashat Balak. If you recall, the heathen prophet Bilam, who was hired by the king of Moab, Balak, to curse the people of Israel, wound up blessing them instead. And this was, of course, from heaven. It was heaven sent. And God did not allow Bilam to curse the Jewish people. Instead, he uttered some very beautiful blessings, but was apparently very frustrated. And in the end, he settled on another idea in order to do his best to drive a wedge between Israel and her Father in heaven. And Bilam came up with the idea of initiating some sort of program that would draw the people of Israel astray into licentious, immoral behavior. He said the God of these people hates licentiousness and lewdness, so that would be a really good way to trip them up. And so he designed this program whereby the daughters of Moab would be a temptation to the children of Israel. And this is what we read about in chapter 25, beginning in chapter 25, the end of Parashat Balak. Then we find that there was an incident there where there was a particular fellow of Israel and a particular Midianite woman who were cavorting within the sight of Israel and within the sight of Moses and the entire assembly. And it says there in Parashat Balak, and they were weeping at the entrance of the tent of meeting. Our sages teach us that this is because Moshe Rabbeinu forgot exactly what the halacha is, forgot exactly how he should react. There's a lot of commentary about this, why this happened and why it wasn't really the type of thing that Moshe was able to react to. Comes along Pinchas, the son of Elazar, the son of Aharon HaKohen, and he saw what was going on, and he stood up from amid the assembly, and he took a spear in his hand, and he killed the Israelite man and the Midianite woman, and this is the way that he assuaged the wrath of God that was coming upon the children of Israel. This is the way that he sanctified the name of God. All this, the end of Parashat Balak. Now we begin Parashat Pinchas with these words. Hashem spoke to Moshe saying, Pinchas, the son of Elazar, the son of Aaron, the Kohen, turned back my wrath from upon the children of Israel when he zealously avenged my vengeance among them. So I did not consume the children of Israel in my vengeance. Therefore say, behold, I give him my covenant of peace. And we're familiar with the character of Pinchas and this tremendous act of courageous and righteous, proactive, shall we say, avenging the honor of God, which he did publicly. And God was very pleased, and Pinchas, according to our sages, actually was transformed into Elijah the prophet. This is a very unusual concept that really has no parallel in Jewish tradition, that Pinchas, in the merits of this incredible act that he did, was actually transformed in life to a living angel and became Elijah the prophet, became that prophet who not only is the forerunner and the announcer of the ultimate redemption, but also he is present at the covenant of the circumcision of every Jewish child. But it's interesting when we begin the Parsha and we look at the words of Rashi on the name Pinchas, the son of Elazar, the son of Aharon HaKohen. Rashi is interested in the fact that the verse lists the pedigree of Pinchas all the way to Aharon, and he explains why this is so. He says, the tribes of Israel were actually degrading Pinchas initially when he first stepped up to the plate and he took this decisive action. The tribes of Israel were actually degrading him and making fun of him, and they were saying, did you see this person? That his grandfather actually fattened cows for idolatry, for idolatrous sacrifices, and then he goes and he kills a prince in Israel because the man whom he killed was actually a person named Zimri, who was one of the princes of the tribe of Shimon. So they said, did you see this kind of upstart who actually comes from not such a great family, comes from an idolatrous background. His grandfather was an idolater who fattened cows for idolatrous rites. And then he goes and he kills a prince in Israel. And Rashi says that's why the verse actually brings his lineage all the way back to Aaron. And what he's actually referring to is the fact that on Pinchas's mother's side, so his grandfather, the father of his mother, was descendant of Yosef, but the mother of his mother was a descendant of Yitro. And you know, we have this concept whenever our sages tell us something that seems anecdotal, or that seems somehow on the periphery, or just, you know, somehow a homily. We have to understand that there's always a very deep message here. And let's look at what Rashi is telling us, and we can realize that there's a very profound idea that's being expressed here. And that is that when the tribes were actually making fun of Pinchas, and they were saying, did you see this guy? Who is he? You know, to go and kill a prince of Israel. He's actually kind of a newcomer, a late bloomer, doesn't come from a religious household. His grandfather was actually an idolater. What they're saying here is there's several things. First of all, they're actually saying on a deep level, they're saying, you know what? Maybe this is just, this kind of reaction isn't really a traditional Jewish type of reaction. Maybe it's just because he has a certain kind of paganity left in him, after all. He comes from idolatrous stock. Maybe this type of reactionary, you know, reaction is kind of just a hot-headed, pagan type of, you know, thing in his blood. You know, there's a lot of bloodletting there. There's pagan sacrifices and a lot of kind of ritual that he's used to, like in that area, kind of rites, and maybe, you know, this kind of public slashing and killing is like comes from his idolatrous blood that's in him. Or on a simpler level, what they're really saying is they're saying, you know what, is this really the Jewish way? What he did, Pinchas, was this really the thing to do? Was this really something that a nice Jewish boy should do? Should get up and kill these two people in public just because they were actually making a mockery of the entire Torah? Just because they were actually degrading the name of the God of Israel and practically denying creation altogether by doing this in public? Was this really the thing to do? Because it certainly isn't democratic, and it certainly isn't, it certainly doesn't fit along the lines of what we like to consider liberal, egalitarian, holistic Judaism to be. Is this really necessary? That's really what they were saying. They were saying, did you see this guy? It's like, who is he to do such a thing? This can't be Jewish. This must come from some kind of idolatrous, pagan, primitive, prehistoric, you know, past that Judaism was, but that's not what Judaism is anymore. And therefore, the verse bothers to tell us that Pinchas, the son of Eleazar, was the son of Aharon HaKohen. He is actually a chip off the old block of Aaron himself, who is, of course, known as the definitive man of peace, who stood for harmony and peace and goodwill towards everyone. And, of course, the verse tells us specifically that Hashem actually says that he rolled back, he assuaged my anger from the children of Israel when he was zealous for my jealousy in their midst, and therefore I did not destroy the children of Israel in my wrath. So it was God's own jealousy and his own feeling that Pinchas was really here channeling and interpreting and taking action for, wasn't for himself. And of course, this is something that we're all too familiar with today, with people who say, you know, people who want to interpolate all sorts of ideals on Judaism and tell us what Judaism is. You know, that can't be Jewish. You can't be speaking in the name of Judaism because Judaism is what I want it to be, what I believe it should be. It's something that is just very fair to everyone. You know, he's only a God of love, and there isn't any room for any sort of exacting retribution because, you know, Judaism means caring about everyone. Everyone else has rights. You know, usually not only before, but to the exclusion of the Jewish people was what they mean. And everyone else matters more than we do, and we have to take the lead in the world's movement of liberalism, and everybody's okay. Everything is okay. every kind of perversion is okay. Isn't that what it means to be Jewish? Unfortunately, this is what people think today. And actually, when we understand what Rashi is saying, then we understand that this is not new at all. There have always been people who have tried to say, don't tell me what Judaism is. I know what Judaism is. It means being so wonderful and fair and open-armed, accepting of everyone in the world. But actually, that's not what it's all about at all. Because Pinchas was standing up and taking vengeance on the honor of God. Because God really says in so many words in this verse that he rolled back, he assuaged my anger from upon the children of Israel when he was zealous and jealous for my jealousy. And here's the irony, is that everybody wants to interpret and define what Judaism is in their comfort zone, what makes each one of us comfortable. But God has a say in it too. And here he tells us, you know what? Pinchas not only did he do the right thing, but that's a real nice Jewish boy. That was the thing to do, because God says, my honor is all that counts. And Pinchas became Elijah the prophet. What a merit. He's the one who comes to tell us that the redemption has come. The redemption comes in the merit of standing up for the honor of God, just like Pinchas.